So we moved up one division here, and this is Serengeti. So nice to have some map difference in the casting as well, for the diversity in viewing and for the players' diversity of maps to play here. So we moved up one division. We'll be looking at a little bit higher elos from some players, but all in all, not that much of a difference maybe. So, but I'm gonna introduce the teams here now. Let's begin with Hope Valley Ultras here. I'm gonna start as I usually do with the pocket position here. We have a very open map here in Serengeti. It's actually kind of tough to wall off. And it's the Magyars for Tudulan here. Tudulan in the yellow is currently sitting at 1199 1v1 elo, so absolutely solid players. Magyars versatility, they have great cav archers with their unique technology. We could see that in play on Serengeti for sure to raid the woodlands and everything. And they also have fully upgraded paladin and get all of the melee attack upgrades instantly throughout each age. So that's an early power spike. So no direct eco bonus, save for the Magyar's scouts costing less when you produce them. Now for the left side flank of Tudulan here, we have Schwimbuts as the Byzantines. Schwimbuts is 1147 only alone, and I find Byzantines a peculiar choice for Serengeti. They are lacking some core upgrades for their cavalry, although they are very, very versatile civ with a very open tech tree. Lacking husbandry, they have husbandry actually, but lacking bloodlines for the cavalry is a bit of an issue in cavalry fights. In exchange, though, they have a little bit cheaper camels and obviously cheap skirmishers and pikeman halbs if that needs to come into play at some point. So it could be good for defending the flanks against if you're left alone against the enemy flank here, it's good to have that cheap option against enemies, archers and pikes. So we'll see how Byzantines works out here for Schwimbuts. It's classified as a defensive civilizations. Their buildings are stronger and their castles have almost twice the HP, I think. Finally, on the right-hand side is Dapöbler here in the red, playing as the Mongols. I love Mongols for Serengeti. It's just almost a must-have because you have so much hunt to be taken. Granted, you get only one elephant on Serengeti, but in exchange you get patches of 5 zebras and 3 ostrich, giving you at least over 1,000 food to be taken by hunt. And the Dapöbler even pushing in the ostrich here from far away, so going to really exploit that Mongols 40% faster hunt collection here. It's very awkward to push the ostrich in between all these trees, but I think it's a sacrifice of scout intel worth making still, with pushing in at least a few deer here. You could justify even milling the zebras here in Mongols, in my opinion, and then delay the berries for later because it collects so much more quickly. But another good option is, of course, to go for the early wall off here and be less subject to early enemy aggression here. I'm assuming Mongols player here will go for scouts for Serengeti, such an open map, but we'll see how it turns out, of course. I wonder if I said it or not, don't remember, but Dapöbler is currently sitting at 1271 elo. So among the 3 players here, Dapöbler is the strongest one. Now let's move north to the other team here, to distant lands, and we have Andwen on the right-hand flank here with Koreans. So Koreans recently got a buff in the recent patch. They get the armor upgrades for the archers line instantly. So that is a nice early power spike. So assuming that both flanks go for archers openings here, Koreans are at an immediate advantage, kind of forcing the enemy to rush that armor for their own archers, because in equal numbers, if you have the armor, of course you will win the fights if the other guy doesn't. So, but Koreans towers as well, good potential for defensive towers for Koreans, because they get guard tower and keep instantly through the ages. Andwen is currently at 1136 1v1 elo. So a bit below, almost 100 below, or more than 100 below Doppler here, which could be tough for Unwin, but Elo is also just a number, doesn't have to mean that much when they're close. Pocket position, I've seen the fourth Raven here is the team's captain. He's picked Khmer for this one. And I kind of like that for Serengeti. You have the option of elephants, you could go knights and castle age easily. And then there's the houses. So if you keep houses close to your core economy, you could always garrison villagers inside the houses to make sure they don't die as easily to raids, because then you'd have to destroy the house before the villagers pop out to kill them. Of course, it's idle time, but idle villagers is still better than dead villagers. So. And Civ with lots of mobility, great siege as well in the heavy scorpions in Imperial Age, especially with a unique technology giving them one extra projectile while shooting. Fourth Ravens is currently at 1316 1-1 elo, and he seems to be the strongest players of all in terms of 1-1 elo in this matchup. Now, finally, we have a name here I wasn't able to search up, but you could use exclamation mark rank and the player's nickname in chat, and it should show their current rating. Vololo Stormblessed on the right side flank here for distant lands. Ethiopians, great archer civ, could justify opening with some kind of infantry here as well, but from the looks of it and the population being 23 here, Vololo Stormblessed is going straight for the archers as Ethiopians here. Absolutely viable, of course, with Ethiopians, but with an early infantry opening, these walls would not be complete in time for Shrimbuts. So good walls here from Shrimbuts, the Byzantines player. One downside being that single stragglers like this, you could actually send one villager forward, chop through it, and place a palisade here of your own, and suddenly you have an opening. So that's an exploit in the game that could be used. So as suspected, we have scouts opening for the Mongols player here now with 3 military total to the land, likely also with the scouts here from Magyars. So double scouts for Hope Valley Ultras here. Magyar scouts with that power spike with forging instantly is going to come in handy, and some defensive spears here just in case any enemy mounted units come this way to the land. I like that. Protecting the hunt income here and keeping the aggression at bay if it comes in this direction. Anduin, however, is going for the archer's approach and will, of course, be providing spears as well to keep the probably expected Mongols scouts out of his base. Anduin has been scouting a little bit in Doppler's side, but from the looks of it may have lost the scout to TC here. Nice, never mind, it's over here. So. But in any case, on open maps like this, you would, even from flank position, you would expect scouts from the Mongols. So it looks like 4th Raven is playing it a bit more passively. He is doing the wall-offs here. He's providing scouts, so it's important to provide that army early on here. And here we have a coordinated effort of Doppler and Tudulan here to try and deal as much damage to Anduin as possible. There are some spears in the mix though, but if they coordinate here, they could easily take out both these spears with their scouts. It's not a fight you necessarily want to take, but it's an option. Not much happening on the left side for now. Both players with ranges. Double range for the Byzantines going into the archers, which is just fine. You could consider, since it's sort of a 2v1 going on the right-hand side, you could consider mixing in some cheap Byzantine skirms here as well, just to have a little edge over the Ethiopians here. No fletching in yet for Shrimbuts though. That could be a problem as... the Ethiopians player just dropped the blacksmith and might be... Well, they both have blacksmiths, and looks like Shrimboots will be first to fletching after all. 4th Raven now with the scouts at Anwen's side, probably helping to fight off the scouts forward of the Publer here. Oh, and Doppler running into spears in unknown space, chooses to go straight for the pocket instead, but 4th Raven is on the alert. Even quick walling here, doesn't even need to garrison inside the houses. Nice awareness here to see the scouts coming and get some quick walls up. It's going to affect the wood income a little bit here for 4th Raven, but with only 2 scouts here, you could even justify fighting them off with villagers. Oh, here comes the market for Doubler here. Is the Castle Age right around the corner here? Alright, we have a run in here on this side. Looks like Schwimbutz is struggling here. One thing with the Ethiopians, they have faster firing archers. So, and looks like the defense is in as well. That's even stronger army for the Vololo Stormblessed here then. Effectively taking out most of Schwimbutz's army here. We have 16 versus 7 on the left hand side here now for distant lands. On the move forward now, let's see. There are some good walls from Schwimbutz here. It's still... it's closed off here, maybe. And I like the economy's placement here for Schwimbutz. None of it is really exposed to any easy archers attack here. Maybe a little bit of this woodland could be ranged by the faster firing Ethiopians. Now crossbows, actually. Crossbow is in, no Bodkin yet, but threatening number of units here for Wololo Stormblessed. All in all, larger army mass for distant lands here, with pure domination at 20, 14, and 7 here, more than roughly 30 more military here for distant lands. It's looking good for them so far. I like the castle position for Dapöbler though. It's going to neglect any archers' entrance from this side and arguably from this side as well. Partly protecting this kind of exposed forward gold here. 4th Raven with the scouts here, but the castle is going up. I hope they see this one going up. They can't really miss that one, I think. Wow. Surely 4th Raven must have seen that passing with the scouts. Yes, he's on the foundation. So they salvage all of the archers here. Note that defense kicks in instantly for Koreans here. Crossbow forward on the other side here from Vololo Stormblessed. With the massive score lead here, that could be military numbers playing in here as well, but decent villager numbers to back it as well. 62 population overall, and now broken through the Byzantine side. This is looking tough for Schwimbutz, unfortunately. Meanwhile, 4th Raven is well on the way to the castle age as well. Is going to be just slightly behind Schwimbutz here. Dovhöbler, for some reason, taking men at arms here. Why men at arms? That's an upgrade I really don't understand. Anyway, a little bit of a forward from Anwen here now. Stays clear of the castle, obviously. Crossbows with Bodkin Arrow and the second defense here, because that kicks in immediately for the Mongols. Being generally annoying here, trying to hit what can be hit, and really bad gold spots here for Dubhubler. With 2 golds that close to each other, it could easily be denied completely by Anwen here. Now let's look at Dubhubler's gold situation. 29 gold, 0 miners. So Dubhubler will be desperate to find some of the neutral golds. Has one in the back here. That would be a decent TC spot, but the eco overall is looking very unstable for the Upholder right now. 12 on food, 14 on wood, none on gold, 6 on stone. Maybe hoping for a second castle to secure preferably these golds. But with Korean crossbows in the mix, that's not going to be easy either. Left hand side, we have a flare, we have still just committing to the crossbows here from Byzantines. Of course, that makes sense. But, and now with Magyar's knights to help out, that's good. But a few skirms in the mix could be alright, even in team games, just not too many, because they would easily be picked off by enemy mounted units. But it's harder to target them in a mixed group of crossbows like this. And in this case, Wallalow Stormwest with significantly larger chunks of armies here, and the hill, it's not going to be easy for Schwinn Boots and Toodland to engage here. In fact, all of these crossbows, accompanied by a few Khmer knights here, could deal so much damage here. Here comes a Mangonel, and does Schwinn Boots see this? Alright, good awareness by Toodland there to go straight from the Mangonel. I love that, that's good teamwork. And now, all in all, they're getting some decent damage output here. Only +1 defense for 4th Raven's Knights here. But in terms of numbers here, this is a fight that Schwinn Boots can never win. I think these archers are kind of doomed. They have to back off from the hill now. Could be pulled back in towards the TC, and at least Wallalow Stormwest would need to break through the walls before engaging those. Yeah, good of Schwinn Boots to salvage the rest of the army there. Now with 3 ranges, but not producing for all 3. Okay. So we actually have 2 ranges versus 3 here, so if Schwinn Boots could sustain triple range production here, could actually be able to match Stormblast's numbers here, but this looks like a strong push from the left hand side here from distant lands, and this hill is just a nightmare for Schwinn Boots. Unfortunately, so close to their home base. Gold situation looking less than optimistic here for Hope Valley Ultras. North side, some Mangudai coming in to try and raid the Koreans' eco. This gold, at least, is very exposed, but with some crossbows close by to get some hits in. Looks like the Mangudai might be missing some upgrades still, missing the defense, but has the +2. But I think they risk being cleaned up by crossbows here now. Left hand side, again, 2 Mangonels and archers now pushing from Wallalow Stormblast and 4th Raven with an increased amount of knights joining in here. We have +2 defense in as well, means that they could hold up more nicely against Magyar's knights, but still missing that +2 attack to match the Magyars completely here. And consistent flow of crossbows coming in for Schwinn Boots here, but again, resources seem to be a bit of an issue, or just simply queuing the numbers will be losing the production potential here as well. We actually have sort of a team wall on Serengeti here between the 4th Raven and Stormblast. That's something you don't necessarily see a lot. Slinging is allowed in this tournament, so the Schwinn Boots was just slung a little bit of wood to get the archer numbers, or crossbow numbers rather, up again. 3rd range being rebuilt here. I love that. That's going to help Schwinn Boots contest the numbers of the opponent here. I mean, the key factor here is that the Ethiopians has 2 Mangonels pushing and the faster firing larger group of archers here, and this might be what wins distant lands this engagement, because the knights numbers are pretty similar, but also 4th Raven is missing the +2 attack. You always have to keep that in mind when you're up against Magyars, that if you are up against their knights, you first, of course, as always, you need to get to the defense upgrades. But then you'll have to remember that you'll still be falling significantly behind in terms of attack. But looks like the numbers are sufficient here for distant lands after all. Going to push extremely strong on Schwinn Boots here now. 2 Mangonels to take out buildings as well. We have some flares on the right hand side. There's the Koreans crossbows forward here, desperately calling for help from from the pocket here as well. I'd say we'll need some help to deal with the archers forward here. Eco situation looks healthy for distant lands here as well. Aside from Anban, who's actually pretty low in numbers, must have been raided efficiently or just been too preoccupied with the forward here. Or simply falling behind in terms of TC numbers here, because it's 48 villagers against 71 and 86 for his two teammates. How do you stop this though? You have almost 50 faster firing Ethiopians crossbows here and a couple of mangonels pushing. Byzantine's buildings have more hit points, but it's still going to fall subject to attack here. Again, the army masses of Hope Valley Ultras here is not really enough unless Shrimboots can get in the mangonel shot of his life here. Let's see. Oh, good mangonel shot from Wololo here, and two mangonels firing at one mangonel here. As crossbows keeping their position here will at least salvage one mangonel here, maybe. Okay, that's good micro from Toodland there to use the few knights to snipe those two mangonels to at least limit the deadly push here a bit. But overall military numbers here, look at the military population here from distant lands as opposed to Hope Valley Ultras here. It's looking pretty darn good for distant lands now. They are, yeah. Losing one flank here for Hope Valley Ultras is going to cost them the game and call the GG here. Having Byzantines in a team game against the Ethiopians here. I mean, in a 1v1, I'd say Byzantines easily defend this because you wouldn't have the Ethiopians with both mass knights and crossbows. But in a team game, you can't easily go for the skirmishers because the enemy knights, the knights of the Khmer player 4th Raven here, are just would just demolish any skirms brought to the field. So great team efforts from distant lands here, and I think that may be what won them their game as well. A bit better team game team communication here, because Daupubler was largely alone against the opponent on this side, and the foreign Hope Valley Ultras were forced to constantly defend on the Byzantine side here. Maybe some stone slinging or something for a defensive castle for Schwimboots could have helped. In the early castle age, try and get control of this hill somehow with a castle or something. It's just imperative to control hills like this close to your base. And it's just a nightmare for both players here, really, to have hills this close to their bases. But this one is significantly closer to Schwimboots' base than this one is to Wololo Stormblast's core eco. GG well played though, and it is distant lands game in the end. $100-17 KD, that's just amazing for the Ethiopians player here to have this kind of numbers. 59 largest army. I need to check this guy's ranking. Okay, couldn't find him, apparently. 4th Raven with the superior food eco to be expected from Khmer here. More gold for Tuduland, but again forced very much on the defensive against the enemy flank on the left-hand side. Massive early cast age for Wololo Stormblast here after going for the straight archers. That's Ethiopian's eco for you as well, that you get that plus 100 food, plus 100 gold upon reaching feudal age. Helps these kinds of transitions a lot. And villager highs for distant lands in the end as well.